Hello everyone, it's 12 o'clock and I suggest we started. Welcome everyone. First of all, I wish you all a sunny spring wherever you may be. Welcome to this info session, a general session this time. Please note that the webinar it is being recorded, so the video will be uploaded in the following days on our website and also on our YouTube channel. In case you missed it, the previous webinars are available also on these channels. Comparing to the previous webinars where we focused on our different specific master school programs, today we will have, as I said before, a general session. We will have a general overview of the entrepreneurial education at EIT Digital, and also a general focus on our master school programs, deadline application, etc. And for this, I'm going to invite in the following seconds our Chief Education Officer, Roberto Prieto. Please mute yourself. We will have after Roberto's intervention question and answer section, and then you'll have the opportunity to ask your question and clarify some doubts you might have about the program you want to choose or the location. I don't know if Roberto is connected. In case he's connected, I suggest
I am.
Yeah, great, Roberto.
I am connected. Thank you, Nicoletta. Well, first of all, I want to welcome you all to this info session about our EIT Digital Master School. That, as Nicoletta has mentioned before, it's a kind of general session to let you know quickly on the model, the programs we are running, and maybe on a few new things that you might want to know. But the main goal of this session is to open for questions at the end and to clarify anything from your side that you might need to know before deciding joining our master school. Let me share a few slides with you. I would like someone letting me know whether you are able to see my
yes.
You are, okay. And now no, it's not working now here. I don't know why. Let me. Okay. Can you still see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, good, great. Okay, let me go through these few slides just to summarize the master school program. First of all, why our program is different from others? What is what we call our master school hallmark in all our education programs? First thing is we provide what we call this concept of T-shaped education. T-shaped, I don't know whether you are familiar with the concept, but it's going deep on some technical aspects and topics. So that's the vertical side of the T, but also on the horizontal side of the T is about this broad approach that we want to cover a much more business-oriented, also focus on implementation of the education. Apart of that, we have the concept of this connecting knowledge. That means that you might benefit on our network of partners. EIT Digital has more than 200 partners, industrial and partners and also higher education institutions, in which we always obviously are able to provide with a lot of knowledge, not only from the university side. So you can benefit from that as part of our internships programs, and also on the business challenges that you will use during your education as well. The other point that I mentioned before is this business-oriented education. Business-oriented in terms of being able to use the technology for creating products, for creating business, for starting companies, So we provide that education on top of the technical part that we include, obviously, in all our master programs. For doing so, we use business challenges, business cases from our partners. So these are kind of real business challenges that they are facing currently on the different technical topics that we are having in our different programs. So as part of our I&E education that I will mention later, and also as part of our summer schools that are in between the first and second year, we use all these business challenges coming from our partners that you, as students in our master programs, should work to solve and to provide solutions, and all of them are based on real cases. And of course, the outcome we have every year are pictures like these ones that you have on the screen. Students that are now creating their own companies, or they're creating or discovering new products. And we are very proud on our outcome. And actually, as you will see later, the satisfaction level of our students is also very high. And that's why we are very, very proud on our education models. Moving a little bit more on the structure of the programs we are running, at this point we have 7 master programs that you have at the screen. It's autonomous systems, cloud and network infrastructure, cybersecurity, data science, embedded systems, human-computer interaction and design, and fintech. For each of these programs, we have 120 ECTS master program total, covering the 2 years. As part of them, we have the minor, we call the minor that part of education that is focused on innovation and entrepreneurship. That is what we call I&E education, that covers 30 out of those 120 ECTS. We have at this point 17 universities as part of the network universities participating, and those 17 universities are part of the picture and the map of programs that you might apply this year through 7 European countries. The program is composed of 2 years. One is an entry year, and another is an exit year. So that means mobility of students, because it's compulsory to have one of the years at a different country.
We were preparing a presentation.
Sorry, Roberto, just a second.
Out of the box that we were able to find.
I'm sorry, can you please
related to device
mute yourself?
And we found a little.
Okay, she already muted herself. Thank you. So again, it's 1 year in one country and the other year at another country, what we call entry and exit points. Then you will get 2 degrees. Actually, you get 3 degrees, one from each of the universities in which you will spend one of the years. And the 3rd degree is provided by EIT. That is what we call EIT label, that recognizes this model on mobility, on I&E education, summer schools. So you, at the end of the 2 years, you will receive 3 degrees, one out of each of the universities and another one provided by EIT. And then, as I mentioned before, you might benefit from our network of companies, and you might create a lot of networking and contacts with all these industrial partners that we are part of the EIT Digital. Well, our students come commonly from these fields that you see at screen. The applicants must have completed a bachelor's degree with a minimum of 180 ECTS. But you might find all this information in detail through our website. The model is like this. At the left, you see the classical university track that commonly, this is a classical. I know that there are other approaches as well that you might access, but the classical one is in one single university in which you get one diploma, in which you spend all the time in one single country. Our model is based on, as I said before, 2 years, 2 countries. In between the first and second year, we have a 2-week summer school program that is included in the tuition fees. It means there are actually, for example, this year we have 10 summer schools distributed through Europe with different topics. So you will spend 2 weeks there solving a real business challenge, and that is part of the ECTS of the program. At the end, you need to develop a thesis with an industrial part internship that we also have agreements. And then at the very end, we celebrate a graduation ceremony. Unfortunately, the last 2 years, we were not able to celebrate a physical graduation ceremony. And we have postponed that one for this year, in which we will join together 3 cohorts coming from the last year. But for the next intake, obviously, we are planning to be able to run it on site as used to be in the past. These are the countries we have now in the map of universities through Europe, the 7 countries in which you might join. The current university partners that are in the program are these ones, but you can find the information of all them through our website. And this is an example of one of the programs, for example, in the data science program. Actually, this is the most popular one, and that's why it's the one in which we have more entries and exit opportunities. And on the other programs, you might find that there are about 5 entries and 5 exit locations. This one we have more because commonly we have more students in this one. But the idea is that you pick, you choose one of the entry points, you choose one of the exit points. They should be at different countries, as I mentioned before. And then, well, you apply and you go through the admission process through the different universities. The minor that I mentioned before, the I&E part of the education, it is 30 ECTS. And the idea here is, well, as you see here in bold, is to turn ideas into products. That's the idea behind all this part of the education. We include different topics, and also this summer school focus completely on this part of education, on the I&E education part. That is using technology for creating businesses. And that's the idea behind all this part of the education that we embedded into the whole programs. Well, talking about employment, we are also proud on this because practically all our students can find a job right after they are done with the master program. We have also a very high retention rate in terms of students that stay in Europe. I'm talking about mostly about non-Europeans that come also to our program, that most of them stay in Europe. But what we are very proud about is on the employment rate of our students. This is not a coincidence. It's because we have very good students through the admission process. We have a selection, and because of that, practically all our students can find a job right after their finalization of the programs. Well, few numbers behind. I already mentioned we have 17 universities, 7 European countries, 7 technical majors. 25% of the education is focused on I&E education. There are more than 40 entries and exits that you can select for your journey through the programs. And so far, we have close to 3,000 students enrolled during the 10 years of the EIT Digital Master School live, and approximately, you see, 1,600 graduates already. We are obviously growing numbers through the years. Finally, just a map of the nodes in which we have the co-location centers and the universities that are currently participating in our different programs for different entries or exits. Last things, well, you should know that the deadline for application is April 11. Still a few weeks, but not that much. So that's the time you have for filling your application and being able to join the programs. Maybe you want to know a little bit on the scholarship program. Unfortunately, we don't have a very large scholarship program as we would like to have because of sustainability reasons and financial sustainability makes not that possible. But we still have a program based on tuition fee waivers or half tuition fee waivers that are provided by merits for the very best students at each program. But again, this is a limited program. It's not, unfortunately, for everyone, but well, the best students might get a tuition fee waiver or half tuition fee waiver for their participation in the program. Well, this is all. This is what I wanted to share with you, and I give back the floor to Nicoletta to go on with the session. I am trying to see where I stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Roberto, for this presentation. And now we are going to start our question and answer session. So you have two ways. Either you raise your hand, you see the bottom line, there's a button, or you can just write down the question in the chat box. Please note that in the audience we have our student ambassadors, our colleagues from the Master School office, but also program coordinators who can help us answer your question. So I see a hand raised. Please, Julian.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting. I have a question regarding, maybe it was mentioned already, but correct me if I'm wrong, about the credits for the 2 years. You said the student can get 2 diplomas from 2 different universities, but then what's the number of the credits that you get for each of the diplomas? This is the first question. And then it's about the program. What kind of the learning? Is it blended learning or is it just on-site learning we are talking about in the two years of study? Thank you very much.
Okay, let's see who can help us answer this question.
Hi, maybe I can take this question.
Please.
My name is Elin Karlsson, and I work at the Master School office. So regarding your first question, you gain 120 ECTS, so 60 per year. And sorry, the second question, was it regarding if it's on-site education?
Exactly, yeah.
So mainly our partner universities has returned to on-site education. However, some of them still have a hybrid version and some classes might be online. But the main idea is that the universities are going back to physical education on-site now.
And sorry, I just want to add something if I can. So that means you have to be available all these 2 years for this. So probably you don't have the time to work or something else. So you need to be dedicated to these programs.
Yes, you need to be able to be physically there for your lectures and so on. However, we do have students that also are able to work at least part-time during their studies. But what we usually recommend is that start your studies first and then see if you feel that you will be able to also have a job on the side. It might be a bit too much to go into it from the beginning with having both studies and work. But it is for sure possible.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian, for the question. I don't know, Kate, if this answered also your question, which was, is it possible to work and study simultaneously? I hope it did, because Ellen was very precise. Otherwise, I don't know if you have a student ambassador who wants to answer this question, maybe share his experience of work and study simultaneously.
Yeah, I can share a bit my experience. So during my first year, I was, so first, hi everyone, I'm Victor Schmidt, I'm student ambassador for the cybersecurity track. I did last year, was my first year in ELTE in Budapest, and now I live in Turku in Finland. So during the first year, it's a bit hard to find a job because you're just gonna arrive in a country in a new program, like you need to settle down a bit. I was able to work a bit for the university. I had actually in Budapest developing the new EIT class, a new EIT class called InnoSocial. But it's a bit hard to be able to manage your studies, the exams, the project, as well as working. Maybe during the weekend, you could maybe find something to work during Saturdays or things like that. That's how I did, at least. And during your second year, it's going to be the same. You're going to arrive in a new country. You will have to settle down and everything. But during your internship, which is the last semester, so your fourth semester or second semester of your second year, then you will have to work for your internship, and then yeah. So that's how it worked for me.
Thank you, Victor. Now we'll take the question of Rehan Tahir Sabi, who asks us how many students from every program will get full fee waiver?
Well, I might take that one. It's not already defined how many students might have, because as I said before, that depends on merits and depending on the level of that we will finally provide. But again, it's not fully defined, but it's limited to not all then, obviously, and might be, I don't know, might be just few per program. Few means might be 5, 7 or something like that. But again, it's not fully defined yet. But for the best ones, we have a program running and we have some budget allocated for a limited scholarship program this year as well, based on that, on both full and half tuition fee waivers. About half of them will be full tuition fee waivers, and the other half will be about half tuition fee waivers.
Thank you, Roberto. Next question from Naga Suresh. Are all the EIT programs in all universities offline?
So I believe I answered this from the first question. So they are more and more going back to on-site education again.
Okay.
Let me clarify on that point, because I see that there is interest on the online and blended and so on. We need obviously to follow the local, restrictions on the pandemic. So, but the model, our model is based on site education, so physical education. So as soon as everything goes back to the normal situation everywhere, that is the model is not blended model. We were forced to have online education during the last years because of the pandemic. But this year we foresee that everything will be normal again. Actually, already now, most of the universities are running a physical education again. So that's the idea.
Thank you, Roberto. Matteo Ferniani is asking us, is there the maximum number of seats in the entry and exit university? He is particularly interested in the TO and Alto.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tobias Schepers, and I work with ELIM in the Master School office. I can take this question. Yes, there can be a maximum number of seats at our universities, because some of them are very popular, so we have a lot of applicants. But I would advise you to apply anyway. And as you know, there are 3 options that you can choose from. So you have 3 different combinations of entry and exit universities that you can choose from. And if our selection committee see that there is a lot of interest in a particular university, and the university itself also says our seats are filled, then we might need to look at a different combination, or maybe only one of the entry and exit universities that you apply to will be taken into consideration. But yes, there is a maximum number of seats, but I would advise you to apply to the combination of your choice anyway.
Thanks, Tobias. We have a question related to the mobility after master degree. Wai-Ming would like to know if this is limited to the country in the exit year to get working permission there. I don't know if this is clear. I will repeat. So he would like to know more about the mobility after master degree. Is it limited to the country in the exit year to get working permission there?
It is not necessarily limited to that, but you will, of course, need to have a working permit for the country where you want to work. So if you find a job somewhere in Europe, then hopefully your employer will be able to help you with your visa application, and then you will have to go through the migration authorities of that country where you will be working.
Thank you. Another question from Praveen Matthew. Is there any stayback option after the completion of course?
I'm not sure if this is the same question, maybe.
It's not the same
stayback
person, but
option
yeah.
after the completion of course. I'm not entirely sure if I understand the question.
Can you, Praveen Matthew, can you please detail a bit the question? In the meantime, we will pass to the question of Ernest Alfori. I attended my 4-year undergraduate program in an English-speaking language where the whole 4-year program was taught in English here in Ghana, Africa. Now my question is, do I need any form of English proficiency exams before I can apply for the master program in human-computer interaction?
So, Ernest, generally we advise all applicants to submit either an IELTS or TOEFL test, but the exact English requirements are dependent on the university where you will be studying. So there are a few universities who do accept English taught programs from Ghana. And you can find these in a document on our website, which is called University-Specific Language Tests and Exemptions. So if you look there, you can see exactly what the requirements are at each university. But if you want to be sure, then it is the easiest way is to simply submit an IELTS or TOEFL test.
Okay, thank you, Tobias. Next question comes from Xu Bao. Hi, I am preparing for the documents needed in the deferred tuition payment plan. The authorities would not provide me the proof of my address. Can I prove my address by copying my ID card front and back? My name and my address listed on it. Is it still valid? But the date on it starts from 2020, not within 3 months. And secondly, the address is not exactly the same as the one I wrote in the application, though they are the same place. Does this work? Thanks.
I suggest Mattia to take that one, maybe.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Mattia Bellotti, Education Lead at EIT Digital. Yeah, what we need exactly here for this application is a document within 3 months. So if your ID is more than 3 months, I would suggest you to use another document. An example can be any document, official document that you receive at this address in the last 3 months. It can be a phone bill, it can be fine, whatever you received in the last 3 months that is dated. Typically a phone bill or an electricity bill would work as well, but something that is at your address and is dated in the last 3 months. That's the requirement that we have.
Thanks, Mattia. Another question from Wai Ming. If I got a great idea after the first year of study and would like to go for startup, what kind of options can do? What can options can do for that? What are the options?
Maybe, I don't know, I might take somehow this one, but also one of the ambassadors might also mention about their own experience. As I mentioned before, we have, as part of our network, we have many SMEs collaborating in innovation programs with us. We have running the Innovation Factory, in which you might receive also some support. We have an accelerator running in which you might learn something. So we have a number of services, but well, that's a part of the network. And also obviously in the INE education, you will receive education on how to create a startup by yourself. But I suggest also one of the ambassadors to mention a little bit on their own experience on this.
Yeah, so basically last year we had those INE classes and we had to think about a startup. And so you are anyway going to do that during your first and second year master during those INE classes. But after those classes, me and my team and I, we were still interested in continuing. So what happened is that we still are planning on everything, and we were still able to have the help from EIT. For example, we had questions about GDPR and things like that, having a mentor. So you're going to have help. Then afterward, I don't have any experience yet because we are still in the process. But yeah, you're definitely going to be able to find everything you need.
Thanks, Victor. I see 2 or 3 questions regarding the fee waiver, the program. So I don't know if Roberto already answered, I think, before. I read the question from Alil. I heard previous batches received allowance in addition to a tuition waiver for the scholarship. Is that still the same for the coming batches, or only the tuition fee waiver is offered? Second question, how many students from every program will get 100% fee waiver? And yeah, these are the 2 questions regarding the fee waiver.
Yeah, well, about fee waivers, I have mentioned before. We have a program that has been formally approved for providing the tuition fee waivers. The only thing we already have decided is on providing a same number of half tuition fee waivers and full tuition fee waivers. Okay, that's the distribution should come once we review all applications, how many students per program. So I don't know at this point how many, I see the question of how many 100% tuition fee waiver will be provided. We don't know yet that number, but I want to insist on that this is a limited program. So it's not for everyone at all. It's for the best ones and decided based on the merits and the number of applications that we might finally get.
Thank you, Roberto. I see 2 hands raised. So Shivam Gupta, please, you can unmute yourself. If not, Shreya Gaur, you raised your hand, so I suppose you, okay?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to ask a question in this webinar. So actually, I'm from India and I have pursued 5 years master's in chemistry, but right now working as a software developer at MNC company. So what will be the probability to get admission in like data science track?
Hi, Shivam. Thank you for your question. Yes, there are certain requirements for the bachelor that you need to have pursued within each of our programs. In general, a bachelor in chemistry will not make you eligible to apply for the master's in data science. But to be on the safe side, I would advise you to contact our admissions officer. So you can just send an email to masterschool.eitdigital.eu and explain your particular background and ask that question again. But just to give you a spontaneous answer now, I don't think a bachelor in chemistry will be eligible for the data science program.
Okay, thanks for the answer, Ellen. So actually, I have a work experience in software development, like 1 year in software development. So mostly in data science, like I was associated with the data science team. So will it matter to get admission in EIT in data science track?
It might affect your application somehow if you, in a good way, can motivate that in your motivation letter.
Okay.
So that is the answer I can give you. Generally, a bachelor in chemistry would not suffice. If you have relevant work experience, that might make your application relevant if you manage to motivate that in your motivation letter.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you, Shivam, for your question. Next, Shreya Gaur, you have a question? You raise your hand.
I do. Yeah, thank you. So hi, I'm Shreya. I actually had a question. I applied during January and February time, if I'm not wrong, and I just wanted to know when exactly can I expect my results to come about, and also when does typically a semester start?
Okay, I can take this one. Thank you for your question. So the admissions letters, they are sent out on the 30th of March for those of you who applied in period 1. And typically the semester for the partner universities starts in September. Of course, it differs a little bit from the dates, but for example, in the Nordic countries, it starts already in August. But I would say that most of them have their semester starting in September.
All right. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now let's go to Nista Kumari. You raised your hand.
Question is about the deferred tuition fee. They asked us to upload our credit report, and my credit score is -1 because I don't have a credit card. I wanted to ask if that is valid and how will it affect my chances?
I can take this one. If you're uploading a credit report from one of the institutions that are listed in our on the page on our website, then we will consider your credit report. I don't know from which country you are and from where you get your credit report, but my advice is to follow the list of country and institution organizations that we provide on our website.
I did not follow it. Actually, I went on a paid website and I got an official report. I hope it is considered.
Well, in that case, we have we need to review it. Again, if possible for you, you can still upload another one. If the advice is indeed to follow that list, because these are the ones that are officially recognized. But we will also review other documents, but I cannot guarantee anything at this stage, of course.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mattia. Thank you, Nista, for your question. And let's go back to the chat. Priya is asking us, what is the percentage of students who get the scholarship in the human-computer interaction? I don't know if we have an answer for this.
I already mentioned about that.
Yeah.
So it just applies the same here.
Yeah. Let's go to Sebastian. Do I need to provide an English translation for all certificates or only for those that are required? For example, do I need a translation for a high school diploma?
So I can take this one. It can depend a little bit depending on which university it is. And actually, this is a question that's more for our admissions coordinator, Christian. So I recommend you to send an email to us, to the masterschool.eitdigital.eu address, and ask this question, and we will get back to you with an answer.
Thanks, Ellen. Next question. Can someone receive admission with a low GPA?
So the minimum GPA that you need to have is 70%. So if you are below that, then you will not be able to be admitted to the master school.
Thanks, Tobias. We have Priya, who raised her hand, or his hand, sorry. Priya.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
My question is related to scholarship program. So how does this actually work? And I'm from India, so do I need any European bank account for it to work? Like, how does this work exactly?
Well, the scholarship program at this point is based only on tuition fee waivers. That means that you are free to pay. So for that, there is no living allowance now provided. So for that, you don't need any bank account, but I understand that you will need a bank account for living in Europe if you joined here. But for the scholarship program, no need for that because it's based on tuition fee waivers only.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Priya. And now, Marina, you raise your hand.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the presentation. Actually, I was almost the same question, the previous one, I mean. You mentioned then there are scholarship and tuition tuition fee waivers, but I wanted to ask about the living expenses, but again, you answered that there are no living expenses covering in this program. Well, I might ask a question. I'm not sure if it's your, it is the kind of information that you might have, but still, what amount of money I need to have in order to get a visa to go and study, and how exactly I can open a bank account if I live in another country outside the EU. Thank you.
I don't know if any student ambassadors can help in this case.
That's a very good question. Regarding the visa, I can't answer your question because I'm from the EU, so I didn't have to apply for this. Regarding opening a bank account, As soon as you have, at least in Finland, that's how it works. As soon as you have a resident address, and that you register to the immigration, you are right away eligible to get a bank account here. So yeah, that's everything I can tell you for now.
Thank you, Victor.
Maybe just add something here, that if you are admitted to the program, you will receive information from your entry university. They will inform you about the visa process and so on. And then this question that you brought up, they will also be able to answer it, because it depends a lot from which country you go to. So we cannot really answer anything in general for all other countries. But you will receive this information from the entry university and from the exit university as well when that time's come, if you are admitted to the program.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next question. I think, Victor, maybe you can answer to this question. Are there also other scholarships from European Union you can apply for to cover living expenses? I don't know if it was your case.
I can't really answer this question. I didn't get any scholarships from anywhere. The only thing I know is that you can also apply for university-specific scholarships, but it depends on in which university you go. But they have their own scholarships that you can find, I believe, on EIT Digital website.
Yes, I can just add on there that you find this information in the online portal where you send the application. So in the online portal, there is actually a tab that is called local funding. And here you find all of the information listed per partner university. So I really advise you to have a look there. You can check what scholarships that might be available to you.
Thank you both. Now I see Stefano raised his hand. Stefano?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to ask a question regarding the translation of the documents, such as the transcript of records. And I wanted to know whether it was necessary to just let it translate by, let's say, a registered translator, or it's also necessary to approve the translated document by the court.
This is again a question that we would be happy if you send us by email to masterschool.eitdigital.eu, and our admissions coordinator will answer this.
Okay, thank you. I will then. Thank you.
Okay, Sebastian is asking us, what is a good relative ranking? Top 1%, 5%, or 10%?
Well, I don't know whether he's asking about the scholarships or for joining a, I don't know. Well, obviously, if I look at those three choices, I would say 1%, top 1%. But again, if it is about the scholarships, depends on the relative, you know.
Maybe Sebastian can give us some details. Okay, another question from Sebastian. Why can I only apply to one program?
I can't tell you why, but that's what we've decided in the master school. So there is only one admissions process for one program, and that is the way it is. So if you are interested in two, you will have to make up your mind, unfortunately.
A question from Jinging Guo. Hello, I noticed there is a deferred tuition payment plan. However, after consulting relevant institutions, I was told that I do not have a credit report because I had never handled any credit business. In this case, am I still eligible to apply for the deferred tuition payment plan?
I think you should still receive a document in which indeed they will, if you are contacting one of these institutions, they should still release your documents that you don't have any credit business, and indeed you are, let's say, clean and you don't have any fraud or past of fraud, but still you should receive a document.
Thanks, Matthias. Annette is asking us if she can change the combination of universities after getting an admission.
So I can take this question. And well, the simple answer is no, you can not change this. However, if you do start your studies with us, then in the entry year, you can have the possibility to apply for a change of exit. However, we cannot guarantee that it would be accepted because it has to be accepted by both the entry and the exit university. But sometimes there is a chance to change at least the exit university.
Thank you, Ellen. Another question from Azizus Akbari. Does 104 credit points, so 3 years of bachelor from an Indian university, sufficient enough to apply, as I guess your requirements are 118 ACTS?
No, unfortunately not. We need 180 ECTS.
Okay, thanks. Noemi Tapi, hello, I'm really interested in the human-computer interaction design courses. However, I already did a bachelor in human-computer interaction, which is 1/3 informatics. Do I still have a chance to enter the human-computer interaction master even without a full informatic bachelor? In other words, will it affect my chances?
Thank you for your question, Noemi. This is very specifically related to the admissions process. Spontaneously, to me, it feels that you might have a chance, but I would also, in this case, advise you to contact us via email, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you, Tobias. A question from Rashmi. Are the degrees awarded by EIT recognized and respected by other countries like US, Canada, or UK? Will graduates be able to find a job in such countries?
Thank you, Rashmi. Certainly. I mean, you will have 2 degrees from 2 European universities, and on top of that, you will receive your EIT label certificate. And your university degrees will for sure be recognized, well, basically almost anywhere. And the EIT label certificate is also a proof that you have followed your INE classes and that you have a business mindset in all of this. So this will give you very good chances to find a job basically almost anywhere.
Thanks. A question for a student ambassador. What was the process like for finding student housing or housing in general? So just shortly, if you can give some heads up.
So it went actually very, very good for 2 reasons. First is that in some university, I think a good part of them, you will have access to the dormitories. So you can apply for those. So that's a good point. But for example, for me last year in Budapest, I was not able to apply for the dormitories, but the EIT coordinator in Budapest was able to help me to guide me, give me some websites, etc. I asked her later on because obviously I was still in Belgium at that moment and not in Budapest, so I could not visit the apartments. So she helped me a lot with that. So it's very easy to find an accommodation.
Thanks, Victor. Another question from Ivan Valentini. In Italy, there is a difference between a master, which is intended a postgraduate course, and a master degree. Is EIT master a master degree or a postgraduate course? Because this makes a difference. Some public competition require having a master degree.
So this is considered a master degree.
Okay. Another question from Praveen Matthew. Since we're studying in 2 different countries, do we get stay back option in both countries? I think Tobias mentioned earlier, he answered one question regarding the stay back option.
So I'm still not sure if I understand this question, but what I believe Praveen is asking is if it will be possible to stay in the country after the studies.
This is what I understand, yeah.
To find a job, and I suppose that depends on the country where you are studying. So if your exit university is situated, well, the country that your exit university is situated in, if you want to apply for a job there, you will simply have to contact the migration authorities there and they will be able to tell you if and how and under what circumstances you can apply for a working permit.
Thank you. One question regarding the admission process. On the application platform where I've submitted my documents, there's a checkbox at the end saying "Dear documents received." I don't know if "dear" is marked as correct or wrong. What does it mean?
So DEAR stands for direct documents. So this applies to those applicants who are required to send us physical documents to the office in Stockholm. And this checkbox will simply be checked when we have received your documents and we have handled them. But before that, it will remain unchecked.
Okay, I think, Simon, this answered your question. Next question from Kalina Nedeva. Hello, thank you for the presentation. I have a few more questions. The first question, I recently received an email about deferred tuition payment plan whose deadline is until 25th of March. Could you please give some more details about it? This would be the first question. The second question, could we probably change locations after the first year, or they are fixed from the moment I apply to them? I think it's a question we already answered. And the third question, I already applied in the first period. Can I attach further documents to my applications, such as some extra courses I did in the meantime?
I'll take the part payment plan. So yes, indeed, for students or for applicants who submitted their application in period 1, you know, the application for period 1 is already over, but we let students more time to upload their documents. And indeed, the deadline is the 25th of March. It means that you still have until this Friday to upload your credit report and your proof of address for applying for this option. And again, after the 25th of March, it will not be possible for students who applied in period 1 to upload such documents. Of course, the portal is still open for students in period 2.
Thanks, Mattia. I think we answered. Ellen, yeah?
Yes, I can take the rest of the questions. And yeah, I do believe that I already answered question number 2 there by saying that there is an opportunity to apply for a change of exit in the first year. And the third question here, let's see. So you applied in the first period, and then the answer is unfortunately no. We cannot accept any further documents now, since the deadline for submission has already been. But for those of you who are applying in period 2, you can still add documents until the deadline, which is 11th of April.
Thank you, Ellen. Charles Vin is asking us if the bachelor's grades are the first factor for the admission in the master. If yes, what's the minimum mark for hoping to be accepted and for getting a scholarship?
So the overall likelihood to being admitted to the master school is based on multiple factors, and your grades are one of them. They are a very important factor, but they are one of them. Other factors are work experience, motivation letter. There are several things that the selection committees look at. I cannot tell you what the minimum mark is for hoping to be accepted, but as I told before, we have a minimum GPA of 70%, so that might give you an indication. I think the scholarship, Roberto has answered quite properly. That depends on a lot of things, but in general, we give them to the top applicants. So we have to be realistic there. There is a small chance that you might be eligible for a scholarship, but it will not be a very large number of students who will be.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tobias, and thank you, Charles, for the question. Amin, hello. I just would like to ask a question about eligibility. Currently, I'm on track to earn my bachelor's degree in product design here in Tunisia. As I'm one of the top 3 of my college, I earned a scholarship from the state to continue a master and a PhD degrees abroad, and I'm thinking about Paris-Saclay University. I am working on the experience of reading. I would like to work on the next generation of books, and I believe that a master's degree in human-computer interaction would help me tremendously. So the question is, am I eligible or not?
Thank you, Amin, for your question, and it's very nice to hear that you are so motivated and ambitious and that you would like to come and join the Master School. Unfortunately, we cannot give you any assessment of your eligibility beforehand, so you will really need to send in your application, and then the selection committees will look at that. But I would advise you to mention all these things that you mentioned here in the chat in your motivation letter, that you tell about your dreams, about what inspires you, and hopefully the selection committees will think it's interesting and will think you're a good candidate for the Master School.
Thanks, Tobias. So we have still 5 minutes and a few questions to answer. Nista Kumari, my question is about the deferred tuition payment plan. They require us to upload credit report, which requires a credit card. Since I do not have a credit card, my credit report is -1. Is it valid?
I think we already replied to
Yes.
something similar on the question by raising hands.
Indeed.
So.
Guerrero has a question. When we did the application to one of the masters, we had to choose 3 different combinations of universities. If our profile does not fit with those 3 selected, will you try to include us in another of the partner university, or do you only look for the ones we selected?
Thank you, Guerrero, for your question. That's correct. You have 3 options that you can provide in the application. And it does happen that none of the universities are able to accept a candidate. And in that case, it is possible, and it does happen quite a lot, that the program committees will try to look for a different option. In that case, there is also the option for you as an applicant to tick a box that is called I am interested in other options. I believe that's what it's called. So it's right below these 3 options. You can actually you can tick that box, and then the selection committees will know that you are open for different options in case you are not eligible for any of the 3 options you provided.
Thank you, Tobias. A question from Han Xiaomeng. May I know when can I get the result of admission?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, for period 1, the admissions letters will be sent out on the 30th of March, which is Wednesday next week, I believe. And if you apply in period 2, then you will get the admissions result on the 25th of May. And you also have if you get admitted to the program, you have 1 week to give us your answer. So that means if you did apply in the first period, and get your admissions result on the 30th of March, you will have to give us your answer by the 6th of April. And if you are admitted in the second period, you will have to give us your answer by the 1st of June.
Thanks, Ellen. One last question from Yusuke. Hi, will the differences in the way GPA is calculated in different countries be standardized for application evaluation?
I would say yes, but this is something that our admissions officer can answer for you. So I would advise you to send us an email to the address that Christian Gall just put in the chat, masterschool.eitdigital.eu.
Thank you, Tobias. Okay, I see one last question, 2 questions. Let's see if you can answer. Stoichkov Elena. Hi, for those universities that we do not have English language exam, should we just leave that tab blank when applying?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, but if you go into the English section of the application in the portal, then you will have all options. So you can either state that you can upload a TOEFL test or an IELTS test. And if you somehow are exempted from providing such a test, then there is an option to state that in the portal. And then the selection committee will know that you have a different reason for not having to provide such a test. All of that is available in the portal.
Okay, thanks, Tobias. I still see some questions. Maybe we can answer after the webinar. We will, I see 3 or 4 questions. So we can answer you afterwards today, right? We will send it to Master School office and probably today you'll get your answer. I would like to thank you all, and before ending this session, I would just like to inform you that on the 31st of March, so next Thursday, our Master School colleagues organize a webinar which is more focused on technical issues regarding the process of admission. So basically, you'll be guided what to select, where to go on the website. So this will be the opportunity to put the question regarding these technical issues. So you will receive the information on the follow-up email you'll have tomorrow on your mailbox. So thank you all for your attendance. Thank you to our colleagues, to our student ambassadors, to Roberto for the presentation, and hope to see you soon on board. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.